Nothing, no medication. They say that I will have to pay that thing or
Is anyone here?
We have to get rid of this. We're not doing anything for it. It's not paying attention.
All right, how's everybody going? Just gonna share my screen real quick. All right, cool. I think I'm gonna get started. I was a little over time. I was just getting off a different call. So what I'm going to be going over today is how you can do your lead gen using KWCommand. And if you are not familiar with campaigns, there's a few ways you can do it in campaigns right now. And the most common is going to be the Facebook advertising. So I'll go over that. And then if I have time, I will go over some of the more additional ones like direct mailing and email marketing. So to get started, always what I like to do is go into my settings. And under settings is going to be where I can connect any of my apps. So if that includes my Facebook or my Twitter, all those can be connected through here. And you'll notice that I do have some connected right now. I've connected my Facebook, and there is an additional connection for Facebook here called Ads Manager. So that's where I will be doing any of my Facebook advertising. And something happened there. All good. So typically what I like to do is just make sure I have all that connected. A question I get often for Facebook in particular, you do need to have a Facebook business profile. And that's going to be completely separate from your Facebook personal profile. And you need that because with the business page, that's the only way you can run any sort of advertising. So if you haven't already created a Facebook business page, I believe there's a class every week where they go over how to do that. You could contact me later on if you needed help with that. But in any case, we do have quite a few classes where we go over how to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the campaigns widget, and we'll just click here where it says campaigns. And this will take me into my campaigns dashboard. Now, within the campaigns dashboard, you'll have some additional information like what's my best performing campaign, any sort of leads that I need to be tracking to reach my goals for the year. This is super useful. You can also notice that I do have my connected account here. So if I didn't already have one connected, I could hypothetically connect it here as well. So that's also very useful. Now, as I'm starting to gather in more campaigns and I'm running campaigns, it's going to allow me to see which ones are performing the best. Now, let me see if I can actually go over this. Yeah. So you'll notice that I just did one from the last 12 months. Now it's going to show me the campaign that's been running and been doing the best. So you'll see here, this is my one that has the most leads. It has 37 leads. It has an average cost of 81 cents per lead, which is quite amazing. And then it's also the most engaged. So there's about 6 reactions. So depending on the type of campaign you're running, you'll notice that this will update depending on which campaigns you currently have running and which ones are performing the best out of those. So I like that a lot. As I scroll down here, there'll also be some quick post content, and this is always changing as well. So this will be just quick posts that I can post onto my business page that I don't have to pay for. And as I mentioned, this is going to revolve and change as the months go by. They're typically changing this out all the time. So I just want to go over that. And then, of course, we do have some nice tips and training here as well. So you can use that as a way to kind of refresh yourself if you're looking for additional training materials on KW Connect. This is where you'll be able to find that here. All right, so I'm going to scroll back up and I'm going to go ahead and click where it says paid ads. And this is where all my Facebook ads are going to live. So anything that I would have ran in the past are going to live in here. And I can also get a nice little overview of how they performed. And you can also click here to see a preview of those. So if you're curious what it looks like, you can see a preview of that ad as well. And let's just use one that I could actually pull up here just to show you as an example. So here's just an example of an ad that I've ran in the past. And you'll notice that I am able to see some of the verbiage, the type of content here, the learn more button. So I'm going to go over how we created that in just a second. Let's close that out. I saw a hand raised if they want to unmute. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going. If you have a question, just pop it into the chat and I'll try to answer that. And if anybody has questions as I'm kind of moving forward, you can just pop them into the chat, or I'll allow you to unmute after I go through this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to choose here, create campaign. I'll click on that button. And you'll notice that this pop-up box will also appear. And I did mention that there are a few different ways you can lead gen using KWCommand Campaigns. Social ads is going to be probably the most popular. You do also have the ability to do direct mailing, and you can also do emails. Now with the Google search ads, that's going to create a Google AdWords paid ad. And I haven't really used this too much. I should actually start dabbling with that. but this is also an additional feature that you could run ads with. But we're going to focus right now on the social ad. And I'm going to give this a name. I'll just say test. Let's just say it's test 6 or 614. And we're going to choose a goal. So the goals are essentially what type of person am I trying to target? What is the actual outcome I'm expecting to get out of this ad? So in this case, let's say we're trying to attract buyers. So I will select that. And then you will also notice here that you can choose where it's going to be running to. And in this case, we do have a Facebook and we do have an Instagram. You can also run it to Twitter. I don't usually use Twitter, so I don't know how effective Twitter ads are, but Facebook and Instagram, because they are linked together, become quite more effective that way. So let's go ahead and choose, I'll use Facebook for this example, and I'll do create campaign. And once this loads, it might take a second. Or not. So I'm going to go ahead and just close that. I'll come back to that in a second. So this is what the campaign editor looks like right now. So it's basically laid out where I have the options to change some of the description text, which listing I want to have it geared towards, the audience. And then on the right-hand side, as I'm kind of filling all that information in, it's going to populate onto this preview. So I'm going to choose a listing, and you don't necessarily need to choose a listing to put an ad together, but let's say we're running an ad for a listing. I'm going to go ahead and we'll use something in Fort Lee. Let's see if we can find something. I'm going to use, let's say, we're going to use just one of these. We'll use this one. So I pulled up the listing, and you will notice that I was able to access essentially all the listings on the MLS because it is using an IDX feed, and that is going to pull in just about every listing that's currently in the MLS or what's recently sold or off market. So here it does give you some of that verbiage by default, and I could change this. You know, I'm not going to use all of it because I don't want to give too much away in the main paragraph. Also, I highly recommend keeping it under 250, maybe even less than that. You don't want to give too much away in the main text. And I feel like if you're adding too much text, it becomes less effective. Facebook does kind of monitor how much text you're using, and they do recommend it's usually under 150 characters. So I'm going to make this kind of short and sweet. And we'll change this as well. We'll put a sought after section, and we'll say something like, contact me for more details and information. And I can put my number in here as well, or click below. So just about under 150, we have 145 characters. And this is just an example. You can obviously write up any sort of description you want, but I'm trying to kind of limit it to what I'm telling in the description because I don't want to give too much away. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll just add another emoji here. Something to like spice it up a little bit. Let's see. Where's the houses? There we go. Not that one. Looks pretty destroyed. And I'll just like pop that there. All right, something just to make it a little bit more character. And then we'll just put something here. Just put something like corner lot property for sale and Teaneck NJ. Oh, they must have changed that to limit that. So like for sale and Teaneck. Okay. So it looks like they actually limited the amount of characters in the headlines now as well. So it looks like it's under 25 characters. So you really have to make that short and sweet. All right, description text. I will say with the description text specifically, this is only going to be shown, and it says even here, it will only be shown in some placements. This isn't going to be shown for ads that include a lead gen form because it's going to hide the link, and it's also going to hide that description too. But I will put something here just to make sure I have it. So I'll click learn more. It is required, so I do need to do that. So I'll click learn more for more details. And we'll just kind of put the apostrophes in here, save. All right, so then as we're going through this, you will notice that the name and goal is highlighted with green and the checkbox. You do have a checkbox here as well. And I can also click where it says media. And under media, it does select the main exterior image. So typically with any listings that you select, it will use a main exterior first. However, I could also say add more, and it will allow me to choose other additional images that are inside of the listing. So if it's like a building, you may want to highlight some of the interior photos, obviously. If it's something with a lot of backyard space or acreage, you might want to get a nice little aerial shot in there. So it all really depends. But I do think that the photos are definitely important. And I'm just going to choose a few of them. I'm not going to use all of them. Let's just choose one of these interior shots. And we'll use the wide angle there, save it. And you can use up to 5. So with these types of ads specifically, it uses a carousel and you can use up to 5 images at a time. So I'll use one of the backyards as well. And I'll just complete that here. We'll hit save. All right, so it didn't load in my DBA logo. There was something that happened there. So I'm just gonna upload it real quick. So let me just pull that in. Okay. And this is almost like a watermark. So any of the images that I use, it will have like a little space there for my logo as well. So we're going to save that. And as I'm building this, you'll notice that the preview will basically change. So it gives you a nice little kind of visual idea of what your ad's going to look like when it's placed. So as I'm going through this, we're through the media section now. I need to now go through Facebook settings. And from here, this is going to allow me to choose the page that I want to run this to. So I will choose the page and select that here. And as I'm doing this, you'll notice that this will also change the preview again. So it has the image that I'm using for my business profile. And with this business profile, with my personal page, at least, I do have multiple pages here. You may have 1 or 2 depending on your account, but in any case, you should have access to see just those business pages that you manage. So if you manage more than 1, you'll see more than 1 there, but you're going to be choosing only 1 here that you want to use. So that section's complete. We do have a destination URL that we can also select. And you can choose a label for the button. So the button's going to be here. It says learn more. And the destination that it chooses, it's going to typically default to the lead gen form. And the lead gen form is going to be how I capture those leads with the ad. So with this selected, it's already going to have a lead gen form generated for me. I don't have to do that. It's already going to be done. So I don't have to worry about placing anything else. Now for the website URL, what I typically recommend, depending on the type of ad I'm running, if I'm running an ad for a listing, I might want to run a virtual tour link. or I might want to pull a page from my website and then have it have them routed to that page. So I think for this particular example, I will use a page from my website. So I'm going to just go to my agent site here. I'm going to do Fort Lee Road. So I'm just basically searching for the listing on my website. And it's this one here. So I'm going to select that. And the link on the top, that's going to be the URL. So we have that selected. I'm going to go back to my Facebook ad. And that's going to be when they click on the Learn More button, they're going to be taken directly to that page on my website. So they're still basically living in my universe at this point. All right. So that's going to cover these two sections. Now, a question I get also is, what does the site or landing page mean? So there's two different options, as we can see. There's a destination, Facebook lead gen form, and site or landing page. So if I chose site or landing page, basically what that does is it creates almost like a passive link. And that means they don't have to fill out a form to go to that page that I'm directing them to. They can basically just click that Learn More button and be brought to the page. So by doing this, that's going to cause it to get more traffic based on just the link. So I'm not going to be capturing as many leads as I would if I had this selected. So this is basically to get it as many views as possible. And then this is going to be more formatted to find you the people, the leads. All right, so as we scroll down here, we do have a section for audience, and the audience is going to be the person that I'm targeting in this case. So if I use where it says custom settings, this is going to allow me to choose where I want to have that ad run to. So it defaults to the location of the property, which is Teaneck. But let's say we want to target somebody who lives in upstate New York, perhaps. Maybe it's going to be somebody relocating, right? So if I X this out and I did, let's say, Nyack as an example. So Nyack will pop up here as a option. I can click that. And then what it does is it will select a radius around that area. So you're going to be pretty much covering a wide range of people. So the idea is then I need to start doing some additional kind of like narrowing down the audience a bit more. So the way that I do that, there's going to be this option here called expert targeting. And don't be too discouraged by that. It's not really as expert as you think. So if we just click add interests, it's going to allow me to select the interests of the person I'm trying to target. So I like to always say that Zillow is a big one because people are doing their home searches through Zillow still. So Zillow is always a big option. We can do Trulia. And then I can also do something like Realtor. And let's just say we'll do one more here. We'll do homes. I think that's like homes.com or something. And then in addition to that, you do have this little drop-down menu of interests. And then I can go ahead and just kind of select from this list, or I could type on the bar here. But in any case, I can also go through and I could say like, okay, this is somebody who is a first-time home buyer, or perhaps they're somebody who's going to be, let's see here. Let's see. Let's say home equity. I don't know. I'm just kind of choosing a few of these here. But you can add these in as a way to narrow down your audience. So that's basically what I'm doing here right now. And I'll hit save. And then you'll notice that it creates my targeting here. And then what I can also further do is that I can narrow it down a little bit further if I wanted. Otherwise, I could hit save. And that will save the audience, and it'll also save the ad. So right now the ad's looking pretty good. Now what I want to do, this is a new setting. So this is called lead settings. So you have the leads, now what? Basically what happens with those leads is that they can be placed into a smart plan and then tagged. So typically what will happen is when your lead is generated through your Facebook ad, they go directly into your database. And then you get a notification letting you know that you have captured a lead. So now what they have done to make it a little bit more automated for you is they allow you to set up an auto tag. So for example, let's say this is my Facebook lead. And you can also create additional custom tags here as well if you wanted. So basically what's going to happen is once they are generated, the lead will be tagged automatically. And then what I can also do additionally is assign them to a smart plan. So let's say I already had a Facebook follow-up smart plan created. I can go through my smart plans here and I can say, well, I want to put them into a Facebook lead follow-up. And then what's going to happen is as those leads are captured, they're just going to automatically be added to a smart plan. So I don't have to stop what I'm doing. Perhaps they're captured at like 11, let's just say hypothetically, they're captured at like 11 p.m. I'll have a text or an email go out right away, just kind of following up with them. And additionally, I'll have them tagged. So that way I know as they're coming in, they'll be tagged in my database as such, which is very convenient. So then next we get down to our last section here, which is the duration and budget. So the duration and budget is going to be essentially how much I'm going to be spending per day, and then how many days I'm going to be running that ad for. So in this case, I have a budget of $30, which is about average. And I can say like, well, maybe I want to spend 50, and then I also want to increase the duration to 15 days. And I can do that here. So I feel like with the average spend, I would say like $30 is definitely an average, and then 10 days. So those are kind of like the standards. I found those to be quite effective still. But if you're going to be running an ad for a long term, I can put like $100 and maybe I'll spend, maybe we'll do it for 30 days, something like that. I'll do like 150 or something. And then that will run for 46 days with a budget of $150. And then all I need to do, actually, before I do that, just to kind of go over what it says daily per channel. So basically what that means, it's going to say, because my budget's $150, it's going to spend about $3.26 per day. Now I can choose to make my budget or my duration lower, and you'll notice that the budget and daily spend will change. So in this case, instead of spending that money across 46 days, it's going to just put it all into 11 days, and that will increase the daily spend. So that gives you more of a more likely that you'll capture more leads per day is what I'm trying to say. So I'll save that. And then all I would need to do from here to run this is I would hit publish campaign. And then that ad will start running typically the day after you run it, because it goes through a process through Facebook that basically checks it to make sure it's in compliance. And that's how I would run a general Facebook buyer ad. Now, there are some that you can gear towards sellers as well. I like to do some that are like essentially neighborhood searches. So I'll show you how you can do that one as well. We're going to go ahead and first, we're going to start with my designs. So I need to create just a simple design. We'll do that right here. And we're going to go to create design. And I'm going to choose here social. And it's going to load us into my design library. And what I'm going to do now is go under where it says listings. So under listings, I will have an option here called neighborhood snaps. And then I can then choose a graphic that I want to use for my ad. So let's say here I'm going to use a social square. And then maybe I'll just use something like this, something super simple. I'll use this. So we're getting into my graphic now. Everything looks good. The only thing is that this is labeled for Barton Hills, which we're not in. So I need to change that verbiage. And the way that I'll do that is firstly, I will click here and I will click the typewriter tool. And we'll just say like, let's say it's heating up in Fort Lee. Let's save. And that will change that as well. Actually, let's kind of do this real quick. There we go. Looks better. All right, so we have things are heating up in Fort Lee. Now I need to change out the graphic here that has the stats. And the way that I would do that, we'll go down to where it says KWLS. And I'm going to go ahead. We're going to choose here a listing. Actually, sorry, we're going to go to snapshots. And I'm going to do a postal code. And we're going to just do 07024. Hit enter. And let's wait for that to load. It's going really slow today. Try that again. Let's try this. It's not letting me do it. Okay. Let's see. So it's just like running super slow right now. So I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to do this. All right, well, what I'll do is I will come back to this, but all I would have needed to do from there is drag in the graphic, and then I would download this. And then what's going to happen is I would have a graphic here that's set up for that neighborhood search. Now, the only thing that I would be doing differently here, and you'll notice when I come in, I'm going to go to my paid ads. And I do have one that's already drafted up, so I will pull that open. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. So creating this is essentially the same. The only thing that I did change here, you'll notice that under the goal is actually to attract listings. So I'm basically looking for sellers. And this is Englewood, so I'm using Englewood as the example. And you don't have to add a listing here, so you can actually skip that. Now, what it also does is it does give you some verbiage. It's saying, thinking of selling, not sure if you're looking to sell right now. I can help you with today's market. Now, I can also change this to, this was actually default text. So, I can say something like here, Englewood is heating up this summer. Are you looking to sell? Say something like this. Let me share today. Something like that. I'll just say contact me at, or click below. Something like that. Okay, so the headline text here, what's your home worth? And this, again, we are kind of limited right now with 25 characters, so you got to make it a little bit snappy. What your home is worth, that's going to be a default. Let me tell you about your neighborhood housing market, and I will keep that the same. Again, this is going to be removed as I'm running a lead gen ad. So I'll click save. Okay, then I'm going to go down to where it says media. And because I created this graphic, what I can do is I can click where it says add more. And it allows me to upload an image, or I can use one from my design library. in which case I can just select the image here. And then that will allow me to keep that graphic on there. So I don't even have to use, property images. I'm just basically using a graphic I've created. And you'll notice that the graphic has some stats about that area. And it's saying, hey, Englewood, your neighborhood is on the move. Not too bad. And we'll hit save. And going through the Facebook ad settings again, you'll notice that I do have essentially everything selected. Now, what I've also done, instead of using my website URL, I used my link to my app. So that allows me to have somebody download my app to do their home searches. Now, what I can also do is, because this is a neighborhood, I could link them back to my website and do a neighborhood search for Englewood. So the way that I do that, I'm going to choose Englewood here, New Jersey. And the little blue indicator here is going to be the boundary. And if I zoom in, you'll notice that it will give me some neighborhoods here. And I could select one of these neighborhoods. I'm going to use, let's just use like one of these as an example here. Use that. And we can do explore neighborhood. And what that will do is it's going to give me almost like a very hyper local listing search. So like they can see all the properties here, they can get information about the area. And then additionally, they can also view properties that are right around there. So I find this to be pretty useful because it's going to give them all those stats, and then they're all on my website. They can click through these listings as well, which is super useful. And then they can see like information, and it's all in my world still. It's all in my website. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy that. And I'm going to paste that in there. So now when somebody clicks through my Learn More link, they're going to be taken directly to my website, and they're going to be taken directly to a neighborhood search for Englewood. So it's pretty cool stuff. As far as the audience that I'm targeting, I'm going to be mainly targeting Englewood. We're going to do that 20-mile radius still. We do need to add some interests. So again, I can pop in some of those interests as well. And as I'm doing that, you'll see that all that stuff will pop up. Boom. Let's do commuters. I can just kind of go through here and put in as many as I need to. It's really just going to be dependent on the type of person that I'm targeting. Commuting. There we go. I'll hit save. So I'm not going to go too crazy with that right now, but just to give you kind of an overview of what I was doing. All right, so then what I'll do is I'll hit save. And again, with the lead settings, I could say I want to tag them maybe as Englewood leads, Englewood Facebook ad leads, because that could be what I want them to be labeled as they're coming in. So now as they're coming in, they'll be tagged with that automatically. And then I could assign them to a smart plan accordingly. Maybe I want to just put them on a monthly neighborhood nurture. So basically they're going to receive information about, let's say, Englewood specifically. Or maybe I will put them on a Facebook lead follow-up. So from here, I'll just kind of choose that. I'll hit save. And then that is all good to go here. So that's basically how I would set up a ad specific to trying to target sellers. Obviously, this is just one example, but you could target sellers in here just as you could target buyers. And it's not just limited to that type of ad as well. You can use it to promote yourself with brand awareness. You can also use it to attract talent. Maybe you're looking for admin help, or maybe you're looking to attract new agents to your team. So that could be another option. So there are quite a few, even like event awareness. Maybe you're hosting an open house this weekend and you want to do a little bit of promotion around that. So you do have that option available as well. So this is how I would set that up. All right, so I do have a little bit of time left. I want to be able to go over just one additional thing. Does anybody have questions as I'm kind of like running through this? Any questions? You can also pop them into the chat too. Okay. So the one other thing that I wanted to just go over real quickly. So within Command and Campaigns, you have something here called direct mail. And if you haven't already used direct mail, it's a great way to have postcards created and then sent out to a very specific target audience. Questions I get around that as well is if I can save the mailing list. Currently, you can't. The mailing list that you create within Command are going to be specific to rail mailers, and that's the system that they're using right now for that. At some point, maybe I can see them allowing you to upload your own mailing list. However, right now they don't. So in any case, with direct mail, if we go ahead and create a campaign, it's going to be exactly the same. I'm just going to choose direct mail. And I'm going to do, let's just say that this was a just sold card. And we'll do 123 Main Street. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and choose, we'll do attract buyers. And we're going to go ahead and hit create campaign. Now you'll notice that after I come into here, there's going to be a new option available. So I'll choose my content. You'll notice now that you do have the ability to choose a template, or you can upload your own design. Actually, I'm not sure if this is available yet for everybody. But if you see this as well, let me know, because I have some features unlocked. So you could be seeing something that you don't have available just yet. But in any case, you will have the ability to choose either a default template, or you can upload your own design. And it does give you some of the dimensions that need to be uploaded. If you're working with like a designer, or if you created a card through Command, the 4x6 will work. The default, they don't have templates for right now, but I believe they're going to be having those soon. And then the large ones, obviously, those are the 6x11. Those are also in there. But if you're working with a designer, the designer would be able to create one of these cards and you can just upload them in here. I'm going to use a default template for now, just because I want to be able to get through this. So we're going to choose the default size, which is 6x9. And we're going to call this 123 Main Street. And we'll say Fort Lee, NJ. And we'll just say just sold. And we'll enter a description. This is going to be what's on the back. We can just say just sold in your area. Let's just say just sold within 12 days in a most desired location of. Okay.
Can you do just sold for, like, I didn't sell, but somebody else sold a home in Keller Williams in the neighborhood? Can I send these cards? No, not allowed, right?
I usually recommend when you're doing anything like that, just to get the permission of that agent, because I know agents who have done that, but I typically always recommend asking them first. I've seen issues before where they put together a card that an agent didn't approve, and it can be a little bit iffy. So as long as they say like, oh yeah, that's cool, I don't think there's an issue. I mean, you're doing kind of like the promotion for them, so I feel like, you know, there shouldn't be an issue there, but some agents like to kind of just make sure that they can have the permission for that. So I would say just as long as you have permission. So as I'm kind of like running through this, the preview, there's going to be a preview for the front and back. You'll notice that it's going to give me some idea of what it's going to kind of look like. This is a very rough kind of preview. It's going to look a little bit different. It's going to look cleaner, of course. but we're just going to go ahead and kind of get through this. So that looks good. You know, contact me today for a free, we can't say free, we'll say a complimentary home something like that. Cool. All right. So as we're going through this, the next step is going to allow me to upload an image. And again, with the images, they should be a high resolution. When you're printing anything, it should be at least 300 DPI. If you're not familiar with that term, don't worry. It's just something for resolution of the images. It should be a relatively high quality for print. So I'm just going to see if I have any images on my computer right now that I can just kind of pull in for an example. See if I have anything that's actually high resolution here. Yeah, we'll just use this. So this would just be the image that I'm using as an example. Again, the preview, it's going to give you an idea of the preview as I'm doing this. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. And it's pulling in my information as well. What did I miss? Did I miss something? What am I missing? Fill in all the required fields. I did. Huh, let's see. Huh, that's weird. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do that, but I'm just going to move on to the next step here. So I'm going to choose my location for the market center because it's going to be that's going to be the mailback. And then for targeting, we can do local targeting, and then we'll do it, we can say around the address. Oops. Let's do that. Hit save. And I'm not sure what content I'm still missing here. It's so weird. Not sure what. I'm not missing anything. It's very bizarre. Let's see if I can. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but I do have a bunch of drafts here I can use. So I will go to edit. So essentially what's going to happen after I would have went through that screen and it wasn't letting me for whatever reason at that point, I got to look into that. In the screen here, the next screen that we're led to is my targeting. So let's say we're going to target 123 Main Street in Fort Lee. And we want to target 500 homes. So basically what it's doing is it's going to target around that address, and this is probably a commercial space, so that's why there's no homes right there. But basically around, you'll notice that there is also a building here that it's targeting. And then all the ones that have like a 41 or 268 or any of those are going to be buildings, or any building that has multiple units. So 4 units, 268 units. So a question I also get is if it will actually target buildings, and you can see here that it does. So it's targeting this 100 Old Palisade, a lot of units in there. Now I don't have to target those. I can obviously change some of the filters, and I'll kind of narrow this down a little bit more. I can change like the square footage. I can do like the year built. So that would kind of narrow that down a little bit more as well. And as I'm doing that, it's still trying to keep it within 500 units. So that's why if I change the targeting a little bit more, it will change that accordingly and kind of like spread it out more. And then obviously the price will change as well, but the default here is 300, I believe. I can just do that. Now, the next thing I would need to do is I would hit next. And then this is going to generate a card, a preview of the card at least. And this is almost like I would say it's almost like the proof. And you'll see here, it looks really clean. Not exactly the same one that I just created because it wasn't letting me create it for some reason. But here you'll notice that this will give you a nice idea of what that's going to look like. Here's some of the verbiage on the back as well. Looks super clean and modern. And pretty much all I had to do is kind of go through that page previously and just fill in the blanks. And then that will kind of fill all this stuff in. Now, because this one's for a listing, I am also able to pull listing information in, which I did for this one. The other card that I was putting together, I was not able to. So I think I might have chose like an objective that wasn't letting me do that. But in any case, that's the preview. And as I'm scrolling down, you'll notice that I can kind of get like an overview of the payment. It is same day processing if you do it within the same day before 3. And then it is USPS distro, so it will mail it out from USPS, and it's about a week after for delivery. So not too bad. So again, this is going to be like another way that you can do your lead gen through campaigns. And I find this to be quite useful because it's just a quick way for you to put together a card, send it out, and then, yeah. Was there any questions before I wrap this up? All right, cool. The only other thing I do want to just go over real quickly, if I go to YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel, and I have been posting videos here for us. It's called Bergen County Partners. This is where you'll be able to find any of like the previous live streams that we've done. You'll notice that we have quite a few on here that I've posted recently. And this video in particular, I will have posted a little bit later today, so you'll be able to find that on there. If there's any additional questions, you can always feel free to reach out. And yeah, that's basically it. All right, so if there's and nothing else, or if there's no other questions, I'm gonna hop out of here, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Wednesday. Can't believe it's already Wednesday. Take care, everybody.